Yo, what is good, guys? It's Board Gamers Goon here today with the Raw and Smackdown reviews for the June 26th and 27th. Both shows I thought did fairly decent this week. The promos could have used a little bit of work on, but Raw opened on a good note. Roman came out, he cut a little promo. He was trying to antagonize us, saying that we're going to like what he says, but some might not like what he says. And then he talks about how Joe put him to sleep last week, and that he also accepts Braun's challenge because Braun came from behind because he can't man up and face him from the front. And because it is Roman's yard, that's why he also wanted to fight Strowman. He always says that. I don't know why. Then we hear the ambulance sound backing up into the arena again. This time Roman went up and checked out the ambulance. He thought Braun was in it. He opened the door. Braun wasn't in it. Braun came from behind. He threw Roman onto the stage, and then he threw him into the ambulance. It looked pretty brutal. That's how Strowman should be booked. I'm really looking forward to that when I go to Great Balls of Fire, man. Really am. He sent Reigns into the ambulance after that. Then Braun told them to take him away. They drove him out of the arena. So that was kind of a great segment. Then we had a meaningless segment here. I didn't care too much about it. Elias Sampson would be in the ring. With Shamaro. It was going to be their first trio song and their last one because it was a special occasion because they're in L.A. He was interrupted by the Hardy Boys and Finn Balor. They started a match. I liked the way they went about it. I mean, it's something new, but I hated this part about it. So they had this one guy named Josh Duhamel, or whatever his name is. He's in the new Transformers movie to promote the movie that he is in. He was on commentary. The guys in the ring had a good match, I could say, but I couldn't stand that Josh dude. It watered down the match. We didn't need to see all these celebrities that they brought in at Monday Night Raw. It really dragged out the show. I really couldn't stand them. Balor would end our misery here by hitting a coup de grace onto Sheamus, I believe, after the Hardy Boys were taking the other two out on the outside of the ring. So, I mean, it was a decent match. Nothing too phenomenal, but, I mean, it was something different. I enjoyed the match, but if they got that guy off commentary, it would have been better. Next, we transition into Goldust. A Goldust production here. He says it's showtime. He says he understands if Truth is nervous with stage fright, saying he must bring his A game. That led to the match where Goldust had a nice little entrance. He had a cameraman and all. Goldust would hide behind his cameraman, and then he would hit Truth blindsided before the match ever began. And Goldust looked very strong here, and he stood over Truth on the ropes with his arms raised high without even ever winning. So I imagine that's going to be a GBOF. Then we had Charlie Caruso in the back. She interviewed Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman said Brock will call Samoa Joe out tonight. And then Samoa Joe interrupted him. He teased hitting the coquina clutch onto Paul Heyman. Joe says he won't waste the coquina clutch on him because that one's for Brock Lesnar later on that night. Then here's another meaningless segment with a bunch of Hollywood stars. I mean, if the promos were better this week, I think they could have had a better, I'm going to give both Raw and SmackDown 5s just because I didn't really enjoy what they had to say. We had the Baller brand, Miz TV. Miz introduced LaMelo and LeVar, so LeVar would introduce Lonzo here. Miz congratulated Lonzo on making the NBA. Miz asked for a partnership. LeVar said no, he's too small for them. Miz says, I am a champion. How many championships have you won? LeVar said 2. Lonzo said 3 for a combined 5. And LeVar says some other crap that I didn't really care about. Miz says he's the Michael Jordan of the WWE. LeVar says Miz needs to stay in his lane. And then Ambrose would come out. This is where the infamous N-word was dropped by LaMelo Ball when he said, beat that ends. Yeah, man. I don't know why you'd put live mics on these guys. They really seem out of control. Ambrose came out after Ball took his shirt off, which was terrible. By the way, LeVar Ball's entrance was so cringy. He looked like he was mentally disabled. Wearing the Big Baller Brand t-shirt, Dean Ambrose came out. He wanted to represent Big Baller Brands because nobody has bigger balls than him. Really? We had to throw that in there. And he likes free t-shirts. So that led into a match where I don't understand how this got about. The Miz and Dean Ambrose were supposed to have a match, right? And then we come back from commercial, and the Miz Tourage, they're calling him now. I think the Entourage was better. But Miz and Axel and Bo Dallas were here. We're fighting Slater, Rhino, and Dean Ambrose. I think it got probably about 10 minutes at the most, but I really didn't enjoy that match at all. I think it left a little bad taste in my mouth in the LeVar Ball segment. I think it could have been good, but I think they could have told a better story of why the Miz Tourage and Rhino and Slater, they just literally pulled random guys out and like, you know what, you need to fight. So that one seemed kind of rushed. I understand Axel and Bo are with him now, but oh well. It eventually ended with Axel distracting Rhino for a roll-up pin here. At the end, I thought this was weird because before Maurice, Miz, Axel, and Dallas were celebrating, Maurice was next to Bo, not the Miz. Her arm was around Bo Dallas, so I know that's nothing to do with the storyline, but it really made me mad. Next, we had Enzo Amore coming out wearing a new Enzo and Cass shirt. He says he's done some dumb things. Enzo says the reaction that Cass got to Cass because he doesn't like it. He gutted Cass just like he hurt Enzo, saying they are brothers and he won't let Cass break it until they're champs. Cass said Enzo doesn't know when to shut up. And then he said he was ashamed of what he's done to Enzo. And then he apologizes to Enzo. In typical WWE fashion, I sat there, I was like, there's no way they're actually going to make them just, like, put that all over them. They know that they're going to do it. And then they walked up the ramp. I was like, alright, maybe they're not going to do it. And then as soon as I, like, turned around for a second, they did it. So, Cass landed Enzo with a clothesline, and he threw him down the ramp. So, Cass being looked strong, but Enzo, don't know where he's going. Cass then would threaten Corey Graves to stay out of his business, because apparently Kurt Angle instructed Cass not to lay a finger on Graves. We had Rollins versus Hawkins. You knew something was going to be up when Kurt Hawkins was in the ring. Hawkins cut a terrible promo asking who we thought were going to win, if it's going to be Rollins or him. It was really pointless. It really just led to Bray's promo after the Rollins victory. I started tuning out during Bray's promo. He says the same crap over and over again, just how he's a god and he doesn't deserve this. He's wearing a cloak of his own ignorance and all that crap from Bray. And then he advertised a teaser at a match, which I believe is set now, from Rollins and Bray at Great Balls of Fire, because he said, your day of reckoning will be, what day was it? July 9th. Then we had Paul Heyman introduce us to Brock Lesnar. Joe cheap shots Lesnar, and he puts Brock Lesnar cocaine a clutch, but Brock kept shoving him into the wall. Lesnar eventually needed the Revival and Gallows to pull Joe off of him. This is a great way to make Joe look strong. I imagine if Lesnar's on the show next week, he gets an F5 on Joe. But he is looking really strong. Samoa Joe. There's nobody look better than him right now. And I even said it in my review, or my top 10. Samoa Joe, he might be the 4th right now, but he's number 1 on Raw because the top 3 are on Smackdown. So, then we had a meaningless match with Lince Dorado and Neville. You knew something was going to go up here because why would they put Lince Dorado on TV? Neville pretty easily got Dorado to tap here. Tozawa would enter the ring for the stare down. Titus O'Neil came out and he was like, "Oh, I've been talking to Kurt. You guys have a match at Great Balls of Fire." So, when did Titus O'Neil get the go ahead to, you know what, you can make matches now? That's what I want to know. Like, some of the stuff they do is senseless, but I can't. I mean, the mic work was not good. The matches were different. I liked the matches. So, then Heyman was interviewed saying Samoa Joe proved him right because all the Samoans are proud of each other's accomplishments, but Joe has to sneak up behind Brock. Heyman says Brock's back is against the wall and he's glad it is because it's Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar does best when he's in those situations. Heyman says, "Goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire, Joe." What the world? So all throughout the night they had the women drawing their numbers for the gauntlet match that was announced earlier on in the day. So Bliss asked Nia what number she drew, saying that they both were judged on how they look, and she says everyone thought they were going to fail. Bliss even says, "My parents laughed at me when I got a contract." And then Bliss would say, "Good luck, Nia." And Nia was like, "I don't need your good luck." So that ended up leading into this women's gauntlet match where Bayley drew 1 and Nia Jax drew 2. Nia Jax completely, if the burial wasn't already determined, now it is. Nia Jax destroyed Bayley in like dominating fashion. Bayley had like 2 minutes of any offense or at all. I think this went like 25 minutes, or I think. That eventually ended Bayley's day. Mickie James would be next, and Nia would destroy her also. Then Dana Brooke would come in, Nia would eliminate her pretty easily. Then Emma would come in to take her down easily. That led to Sasha Banks and Nia Jax face-off. But the story they're going with Nia Jax during this match is she was getting tired throughout the match because she's been in there for so long. So she ended up taking down Nia Jax with a suicide dive. They'd come back from the commercial break with Nia Jax in control. The match proceeded to go on for a little bit, and it eventually ended with a Banks statement, and Nia sold the crap out of it. She was all the way back like she was in the Accolade. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. Then Bliss would come down and have a stare down with Sasha. But Sasha would then kick Bliss out of the ring, holding the title high at the end of the night. So, like I said, I'll probably give that one a 5. And Smackdown, the show opening promo was good on this too, except it was the exact same one as last week, I think. So we have them talking about, we have Daniel out here talking about how he was so proud of the women's division, interrupted by Mella, saying that this is not the land of opportunity, it's the land of injustice, because she was stripped of her contract last week, the biggest injustice in the WWE. She says she won fair and square, saying, "How can you break a rule if there is no rules?" Besides, the first women to gain possession wins, she says. So, and then she name dropped Sheamus and Rollins again, saying nobody stripped them of the title. It's not fair, Daniel. It's like, when Daniel was like, you make a valid point, but never has somebody gone up there and physically handed the other person the contract. So he asked the universe what they wanted. They wanted a rematch. There was an Ellsworth sucks chant. And then Ellsworth would say, "These fans make me mad. They make me sick because they're the villains. We're not the villains here." He says he used to look up to Daniel, but now he's only a gutless, spineless coward that has no grapefruits to cut it in the ring, so he made up an injury. You know there's truth behind that. You know there is. I'm saying it right now. I don't think Daniel has anything wrong with him. All the doctors prove he could wrestle again. But Mr. Roman Reigns here, what year did Roman Reigns start? Oh yeah, the same year Daniel did. When did the Shield break up? Oh yeah, the same year Wasn't it the same year that Daniel completely just randomly couldn't wrestle anymore? Oh yeah. Big boy Roman Reigns might be stealing Daniel's spotlight. Just saying. Just saying. So I lost my spot there. Daniel would smile, saying, "I should fire you right now, but tonight it's not about you, it's about the real superstars." He said that he isn't going to ban him from ringside, but the entire arena. I'm going to get into this later, but if he's banned from the arena, then I know they're not going to redo it. I hope they don't redo it, but I hope he either gets fired or something in a storyline there, or gets a punishment for entering the arena. We'll talk about that again. But he said, then the security would grab Ellsworth. He tried to run away. There was this hilarious moment where he tried to dive into the crowd. He failed. It was great. But I'm so glad he was gone. I really don't like James Ellsworth. I mean, he's good in his position, but I don't like James Ellsworth. He's pointless. Then we had the Hype Bros versus Usos match that probably shouldn't have been on the show. It was pretty fast here. Ryder started hot. He would tag in Mojo. He would take out the Usos, came back from commercial, and then we see a frog splash, and the Usos win. So the majority of that match wasn't even on TV. So I don't know. It just set up the New Day to come out there and interrupt them, their celebrations. Proud they didn't run away from the Hype Bros, saying they want the gold at Battleground. Usos say they don't deserve a shot, so they can hand them an L again. Usos say at Battleground they better be careful what they wish for. It's not about the New Day anymore. It's only about day one-ish. Xavier was like, "Where are you going? You got bars, but we spit hot fire." Then Kofi would say some rhymes, eventually leading them for Kofi calling him booty. Apparently they're going to have a rap battle next week. Are you kidding me? A rap battle. I hope this is like a 3-minute segment. I really don't care. I don't want to see a long segment drawn out. It's pointless. It really is. Then we had the Fashion Vice with the Fashion Police interrogating the Ascension. Fandango does the voiceover saying he knows it wasn't them. Fandango offers the Ascension tickets to Paradise, saying, and then I think it was Connor say they only listened to something heavy metal. Breeze then brings in some water guns and asks if they're thirsty or hungry. Why they attacked him. They said they didn't attack him. They just wanted a match on the card, and they were like, "Oh, that makes sense. We're good cops? No, we're great cops." And they come back to a trashed studio. Then they would go back in, and they're like, "The Ascension were here the whole time. It couldn't have been them." And this Ascension was eating from the dinner plate or whatever it was that they gave them, and they took the tickets. So I imagine that's not going to be a storyline at all. But then we had Naomi versus Lana. Lana would hit a cheap shot on Naomi while she was holding the belt up. She hit a very early sit-out powerbomb for the 2 count. Naomi would kick out. They're not making the move look protected at all. Everybody's kicked out of it so far. That led Naomi to hit a swift kick to the head of Lana and hitting the split leg moonsault for the win. Lana doesn't need to be a champion. She isn't built up to be a champion. She shouldn't be in these matches. Then we had Aiden English in the ring. I was hoping Aiden English was going to have a match. He didn't. He was about to sing, interrupted by Orton. Orton had a chair with him. He had an RKO on English. Orton says he won't leave until he gets what he wants. Then he says he tore into Mahal. He says that he wants a rematch. He says he will beat Mahal up again and again and again and again and again until Mahal gives him what he wants. Then he is about to go to the back and find Mahal when Shane O'Mac comes down saying, "This is live TV. You can't be making these threats. You can't be holding the show hostage." And then Randy Orton was like, "What are you going to do? Fire me? Suspend me? Whatever you do, I don't care. I will buy tickets to beat him up." You can make it complicated or you can make it easy, Shane, says Orton. Then Shane O'Mac was like, these are the same tactics you've used before, the same that Jinder Mahal is using now. I'm glad they said that. Randy Orton has done these before, but he says, you know what, I'm going to give you a rematch, but the stipulation will be given by Jinder Mahal. Orton says the title is coming home to where it belongs, and then Mahal would come out and then make it official that the Punjabi prison match is coming back. After he mentioned Great Khali. I'm just going to point this out. Great Khali has been involved in the only 2 Punjabi prison matches. I swear to God, if Great Khali is in here, I am going to be mad. Then we had Daniel in the back saying it's been 10 years since the last Punjabi prison match. AJ Styles says, is it really an open challenge if Owens doesn't let anybody answer it besides people from that town? Owens came in and says, you're just a typical American because you missed the point. It's for people that haven't beaten me yet, or how I've been beaten yet. Daniel says KO doesn't understand the open challenge, so there is an Independence Day Battle Royal next week for the #1 contendership. Then we have the Canellises coming out and being on TV. They cut a promo where they're about to say the same thing they've always said. Zayn would come out and interrupt because he had a match. Maria was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Zayn was trying to apologize, but yeah, maybe that's the next storyline for Canellis, or Zayn, because that's going to be Canellis' first storyline. Then Zayn and Corbin began, and Corbin was booked to look pretty strong here. I'm proud he did. He has the Money in the Bank on him. He should be looked to be this way. Nakamura was watching in the back. He was asked on how he felt after Corbin won. Yeah. And by the way, please stop calling Nakamura Shin. I hate every moment. Shin, what was your thoughts on? No, just call him Nakamura. He says Corbin's dangerous, but he fears him. He says he has the right to be afraid. Then we had the Money in the Bank women's rematch. Charlotte came out first. She had a nice little cape on. Then it was all of them coming down to the ring. There was a moment early. Carmella snuck in. She tried to get the briefcase early. They all 4 teamed up on her. Becky had a moment where Tamina and Charlotte were trying to battle over the ladder. Becky tried to climb it with them holding the ladder. It would have been funny if she grabbed it. That would have been hilarious. They pushed it down. It looked pretty cool, though. There was also a really cool moment where Becky came from behind Carmella with a devilish look and then hit a back exploder suplex on her, threw a ladder and missed Natty. Tamina would then spear Becky from behind. Then all 4 besides Carmella were on the ladder at once. The ladder would fall, so Carmella was the only one left. Carmella had the briefcase in her sights, but the 4 others would pull the ladder away from the briefcase. Carmella would dive onto Becky and Natty, leaving Tamina alone with Charlotte putting the ladder over her face. Charlotte was gonna try to climb it. Tamina shoved up, and then Carmella tries to stop her. Yeah, it was a pretty good book match. Tamina would try to climb then before Becky and Natty stopped her, hit a powerbomb on her. Natty would try to take Carmella out with a sharpshooter, leading to Charlotte to kick Natty and deliver a natural selection. And then Carmella and Natty and Charlotte fight. Well, and then she took out Carmella, and then Natty and Charlotte would fight into the crowd looking stupid. Then Ellsworth would come back in. Why is Ellsworth? This is how it should have been done the first time. You didn't need to have this time. Should have did this the first time. You should have Ellsworth done this the first time and just get laid out like he did. But I hate how he was banned and then he came back. We don't want to see Ellsworthless. Please. I really hope they book Becky and Ellsworthless in a match, because you already know who's going to win. It's a battle of my favorite and my least favorite. So, Ellsworth would come back out. He helped Carmella into the ring. Then he tried to climb the ladder. Becky took him out. Then Carmella shoved the ladder down. Becky went for the climb. But she fell off, tweaking her knee. Carmella then hit her with a chair, and she won again. Trying to book her up as a legitimate heel. If I didn't have favorites, the match would have been fine. If I didn't know what happened at Money in the Bank, the match would have been fine. Ellsworthless didn't need to be in this match. This is what it should have been the first time. Because of Ellsworthless, we had to have this rematch. Why? I just don't understand why Ellsworthless is constantly in this storyline. He didn't do anything, but I just don't want to see Ellsworthless. Please, get it over with. Have a firing match. Have freaking Becky and Ellsworthless at SummerSlam. Loser gets fired, and I swear to God, if Becky loses, I am going to be mad. Anyways, it's been your boy Gamers Goon. Make sure you click that red sub button. Make sure you click that thumbs up, and make sure you leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of Raw and SmackDown. Did you like it? Did you hate it? I thought they're both watchable, but they could have done better telling the stories. Kind of feel a little bit empty, but I mean, it was there. I mean, the content was there. It was okay, I guess. But I mean, I feel like last week was a little bit better than this week's episodes, but that's up for you guys to decide for your personal preference. Thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy Gamers Goon. I am out. See y'all next time.